Yeah.
We'll never
Great cloud shit.
We'll never
Great clouds.
sacrifice
Dirty
dirty
beats.
beats, sacred
Nature.
yo.
Yo.
We'll never sacrifice what we hold sacred. Rather die, not high on my knees and naked, and become someone overcome by hatred. Go ahead, progress. Go chase success. We gon' be right here like cheers, you blessed.
What's really good, ladies and gentlemen? Chef, y'all know what it is, man. Like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. I got Justyce Haymaker Smoke in the building. My brother, how are you today?
I'm not too bad, man. Yourself?
I'm good. Yo, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, if my son seen the background with all those jerseys, he'd go crazy.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a keepsake for sure.
Yeah, like he got into hockey this year, and he's 17, turned 18. I don't know why he waited so late. And the first jersey he gets is like a Mario Lemieux, and I was surprised. I'm like, oh snap! Like, all right, we going vintage real quick.
Yeah.
And he's like he's a cracking guy, so he's getting all these jerseys, and I'm like, man, you kind of came into the game kind of late. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I think that's what's going to be my first question to you is when did the hockey thing like come into fruition for you?
The actual hockey aspect of it came in when I technically started late too. Like I started when I was 11, I believe, or 10.
Wow.
When you and like around here in Manitoba, everybody starts at 5, 6. They're skating by 4 type
Mhm.
stuff. So I definitely was behind everybody for a while there. My first year was awful. I scored like 7 goals, and they were all dust goals. And by the end of the season, I was good enough with my balance and my skates to basically, go through people or do whatever. Nobody wanted me to truck them down, so that's what I did for I think 5 goals at the end. And then my next season was just a big difference. It was just straight hitting, straight like that's where I became an enforcer, a goon, whatever you want to call me.
Now I gotta ask you because I see the Haymaker shirt. I like what you're doing because I'm a graffiti guy and I like your style. Uh, are you the artist or you got someone who does your work?
I do like 99% of my own shirts and all my own designs.
Wow.
I do have a few guys on the outside that do work for me. Very rare. Like I think I've used one logo from somebody else. But other than that, every single thing that I drop, every design that I drop, all the edit pictures are pretty much me too. The odd time people will send me some edits, edited videos, whatever. But yeah, like all my t-shirts are all my own designs.
See, I respect it even more. Like that's so dope. Now also, like I played football, basketball. I was terrible. I played roller hockey, and it was literally, yo, you from the hood, you know how to fight. It was kind of one of those kind of things. Like, come play with us and just be the goon. But I'm big into my number. Like, 21 is everything. Are you superstitious where you have to have a certain number, or you're like a number's a number and I just do what I do?
I'm pretty picky with my numbers. The good thing about me is I grew up and I had multiple numbers growing up. Every number I've had a reason I chose it or whatever. So like I have, if I don't get my first number, which is 81, then I, get my second number, which would be 13 or 14. And then if I don't use that, then I use 18 because that's what I did in hockey when I couldn't get my 81, I would just switch it around. Um, yeah, and then now that I have a son, it's kind of like whatever his number is, I'm cool with taking his number too for the season and just rocking the same number. But 81's my first number, and then from there it kind of goes down to 13, 14, 18, kind of, yeah, like that's pretty much it there.
So the numbers, they obviously are super personal to you because when you said the numbers, I'm trying to think what hockey players had those numbers, and I can't place like a superstar with 81.
The only guy that like ever rocked 81 that I like remember is like Marian Hossa. Um,
Okay, yeah, okay.
Other than him, like, and I didn't even rock it because of him. I don't even know actually what got me into the number 81. I got it thrown to me one season and I wore it and it just looked like a gritty number to me. And then I just rocked it like for ever since. If I like play on different teams, they like already know that's my number. so they like instantly give it to me. It's pretty nice.
That's what's up. Was there like a player when you were growing up when you were like, I'm gonna emulate my game after? Because obviously you're a tough guy, so you know, like in my era, it was kind of like Ty Domi, Ulf Samuelson, Ken Danico. Like those are the guys that were really banging out.
Yeah, 100%. Growing up, I was always cool being like the fighter type guy and all that stuff. So like, I did emulate certain guys or like follow like certain guys' directions, like John Morasti, who's part of BKFC Ice Wars. Um, I've always liked the way he fought. You know, head down, toe to toe, just go until you can, until one of you guys drop, basically. Um, and then obviously, I'm from Manitoba, which is me and Aaron Asham's from Manitoba too. He's from Portage La Prairie, which you know, like I've lived there for years. So back in the day, so I always followed emulated his fighting style, his whatever. And actually, after Ice Wars 2, when I got the knockout, I actually did the Aaron Asham Celia where he like does that and like goes to sleep or whatever. Um,
Which they've used.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So like there are guys I follow. It's almost like I'm a mix of like a bunch of different guys put together that like I wanted to be like, or like I like their certain style for certain reasons. Like the guys that just go toe to toe, obviously I'm not trying to follow them for defense tips type shit. But for for show, for entertainment wise, like nobody wants to see some guy playing defense in a fight. Like the best fights are toe to toe.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I pretty much try to do every time.
So now, obviously, there's got to be a big difference between hockey fights and Ice Wars fighting, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't know, it's if you just square up, it's kind of in the action, but you're actually going in knowing you're going to fight this person. There's a preparation and everything. How was that? Because this is where I was like, I'm new to the Ice Wars game. Like, obviously, I've seen hockey fights for years. I've seen Ice Wars, but like, I was like, I got to talk to one of these guys and figure out what's the difference. Because if you're just fighting on the rim, you're like, all right, we're just going to bang out 5 minutes. We'll be out. We'll do it again. But now you have time to prepare for someone, and it's footage of how they do their thing.
Yeah, so Ice Wars 1, 2, and 3, they did a tournament style type fights. So I wasn't in the tournament. I was only in one tournament, but so like the first event when I knew who I was fighting. Hold on, just give me a second here.
Now listen, obviously he knew real quick. Dogs went off. You got to check.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna let him know when the dogs go off. You got to see what's going on. So
100%. Yeah, hold on, I'll check someone too.
yeah, but this is what I'm excited for. I'm excited to come on here, try to pick their brains of how they're manipulating the fight and everything going in, because like when you fight in the street, it's so fast. You know what I mean? Like you just bang bang. When you watch hockey fights, it's you get a serious shot and they just start going at it. With what these guys are doing, this is where I'm interested, because there you go. He'll tell you right now. I'm just trying to give Philip when you walk away.
Yeah, that's my bad. My dogs are going crazy. Okay, so the big difference would be like, right, so when you're preparing for someone certain, you can study them, you can like watch the way that they fight in a hockey fight. But when you're training for the tournament, like you really don't know who you're fighting till the day before you actually start the tournament.
Oh wow.
So like I got put in the bracket the day before, saw my bracket, and I mean every fight you get into is gonna be scary regardless. But so I mean I personally didn't care what side of the bracket I was on. I just knew either way it was gonna be hell. So for that I trained straight cardio. I trained basically for the worst possible outcome for every single fight, so that like if it was the worst possible outcome, I already knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then training for someone personally, you just study them super hard. You know, you watch what they do the most of. Like I have a team of like I don't even know how many of this are actually are, like 10 maybe more. And everybody has their own job and like their own like title type thing. So but when it comes to footage, we all like, review the same footage of people, and we all like count how many times they throw a certain hand, or how many times they do a left hook, or when they do the left hook, when they're tied up, what do they do? just different stuff like that. So it's a lot easier to prepare for someone certain compared to a tournament. But like the fight
Yeah.
itself, it's like I tell everybody it's not just a hockey fight. Like it's not even hockey. It's prize fighting on ice. And then secondly, it's
Yep.
like I consider it like 10 hockey fights in one. Like most of my hockey fights last, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. So like this, you're going for 2 to 3 rounds at 1 minute. You know, you get dropped, you have to get back up and like, you know, say that you can continue and whatever. And like most fights is one hit, you know, someone drops that you're barely even rocked or stunned or whatever, and then it's done. Where this is, you know, you get rock stunned and you have to get right back up and be like, oh no, I'm good, I'm good. Um, and then obviously just with the crowd, like the crowd in the pay-per-view just throw a huge difference because like people aren't there to watch hockey. They're there to be entertained by hockey
No.
fighters. Where that's kind of what I like. My first event, I went in, you know, thinking it's a hockey fight. It's gonna be pretty easy, whatever. And then pretty much halfway through my fight, I realized nobody wants me to like, you know, be just like be crazy strategic here unless I'm doing some crazy shit.
Yeah.
They want me to go head down and just go and go and go. And that's pretty much what I based all my fights on. Is just, you know, nobody wants to be watching me duck and move away and run away. They want to see me stand in the middle and go. So uh yeah, and like yeah, preparing for a fight like that, like and people always watch me and they're like, man, why do you walk on the ice? And I'm like, because I'm not playing hockey. I'm not there to skate around. I'm there to knock people out.
Exactly.
So I don't compare it to hockey. I don't compare it to hockey fighting really ever. Like the only thing that like I'd say is the same is you're wearing the equipment, and that's really pretty much it. Other than that, like I hate to say everything kind of goes, but like I definitely do way more shit in ice wars than I do in hockey fighting. Where hockey fighting I can just end it pretty quick. But ice wars it's like you want to end if you're gonna drop someone, you want to drop them so that they don't get back up. That's the biggest difference. Where hockey fighting you could just
Sure.
rag them around, they fall, it's done.
See, and that's where I'll be trying to tell people with this fighting game is if anyone's ever been in a fight, like a street fight or whatever, I don't care what it is. Fights go by so fast. Like, I was doing an interview with a BKFC fighter, and I was telling him because we were talking about the fights and the 2 minute rounds, and I was like, listen, like people have no idea how long 2 minutes is when you're actually throwing hands with somebody. Like 2 minutes is forever. 1 minute with all the equipment that you guys are wearing, it's a lot. Like I don't care how they say, oh, well, the equipment's a little lighter now. It's yeah, but you're still, it's not like you're in jeans and a t-shirt and you're just throwing. You got all this equipment, so it's weighing you down. And the cardio, like you said, the cardio's got to be there, or else you're just gonna get mollywopped out there.
100%. 100%. And like that, and it's not even just the equipment, it's, you know, all the lights that are on you from the minute you step out there, and the heat from everybody being around, and like just the heat in the venue itself is super hot. Like I pretty much don't get ready until like 5 minutes before I fight, and then
What?
and then I get dressed and I'll like get my shit ready. So like the downside of that is if my skate isn't feeling right, like I don't have time to fix my skates anymore. It's just, you know, get the hell out there and do what you got to do. So that's the downside to doing that. But like I've seen guys get dressed early because, you know, just the nerves, you want to be ready to go and whatever. And they're sitting there drenched in sweat. And I'm like, you guys haven't even fought yet? Like, what are you doing? But like the venue in the last Ice Wars there, that was definitely the hottest venue I fought in. And the elevation was ridiculous. It was like compared to here, I can't remember what it was. It was like, I don't know, like a 7,000 foot elevation difference or something. It was something ridiculous. And yeah, it was nuts to go out there and fight like that. Like, yeah, I got gassed pretty quick, but I mean, that's the way she goes. So,
wow. So now I don't think that they named anyone for the June 14th fight yet, right? Like I haven't seen anything on who's there. You're smiling. So I know you can't say something.
Yeah, so they haven't announced the official fight card yet. I'm assuming it's going to be announced probably in the next couple of weeks or week or whatever. I'm not officially sure on that, so don't quote me on that. I personally know it's Canada versus USA, so both rosters are going to be probably pretty crazy. Obviously both countries are going to want their guys to win, and yeah, we have a pretty good understanding of who we want to go with to the States to go fight from Canada. So Obviously I'm representing Team Canada, so
Yeah.
yeah, no, they haven't released yet, but they're probably going to release within the next week or two, is what I'd assume.
No, and it's wild because like I'm not one like I hate watching people boo other people's national anthems, which became a big thing with America hating on Canada, Canada hating on America. And it's like the thing that frustrated me the most with it is when you're kind of taken away from the players, especially with America beating Canada, and that's like that's Canada sports, so that was a big thing. But you know you're taken away from the game by booing, and it's like all right. And then as soon as they come to Boston, you retaliate, you're booing. It's like let the players entertain, let the players do what they do. And you got these amazing singers that this is their career. This could be their one big opportunity to sing for their culture, their country, and you're booing these people. I hate the politic game. I'm not all about it. Like I said, I'm a big Raptor guy, but it's a smart play doing the battle for the border because of how hot the topic is. And
Yeah.
I think the fan base is gonna be insane. Like, I mean, it's gonna be nuts.
I think considering I want to say we might be the first fight promotion to actually do like Team Canada versus Team USA type thing. I want to say, I could be
Wow.
wrong, but I want to say I've never heard of it before, unless it was like just like a joking type thing. But I want to say this might be the official first card that I've ever seen Team Canada versus Team USA like that, where that's what the title is. Um, and then yeah, like I think it's gonna be crazy. Like when at first I didn't know for a little while about it. Then they told me, and I was like, this is gonna like, for one, it's gonna piss a lot of people off, which is gonna be technically good. All publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that the people that are super into those politics and are super against all like my country's the best type shit, they're gonna be watching
Yep.
this regardless of what if they even like fighting. And then I think all the
Mhm.
every fight fan's gonna be like, oh, Team Canada fighters versus Team USA fighters, and then it's hockey fighting on top of it. So it's like this is proving who the tougher country is type stuff. Um,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I think it's and I think the crowd on top of it, like I'm as much as I fought in the States before and it was great, because it's Team Canada versus Team USA, like my team's expecting it to be rowdy when they go there.
Oh yeah, you
Which
you got to be expecting it to be hot. Like,
yeah, 100% expected. I'm expecting no cheers when I go out or boos or whatever they want to do. Um, Yeah, so like, but with that, like I said, like all publicity is good publicity. They can hate on me as much as they want. I understand it's just the politics and whatever. By the end
yep.
of it, my plan is, regardless of what country you're from, I want to make a fan of you towards me. So I mean, I'll probably go out there and be a bit of an asshole if I have to be, to get people to put more eyes on me. But by the end, I guarantee you, people will be like, "Holy shit, that's the guy."
Now, would you go as far as bringing out the Canadian flag and waving it around?
Yeah, I actually thought about doing that. Yeah. 100% thought about doing that, walking out with a flag and then a Manitoba flag behind, and then um, yeah, there's a few things that we have in mind of what we're gonna do, but we don't want to be starting a fight before the actual official fight starts, so
Yeah,
it's kind
yeah,
of up in the
yeah.
air of what we're gonna do yet.
See, I just like I said, I love what I'm seeing, and it just gets to a point where you're like, I think fans have became like they want to be part of the show, and it's like, but you're not, right? Like, yeah, you're there to cheer for people. Let them do what they're gonna do it, and understand, enjoy the entire process. Because if a guy's a great fighter, I don't care where he's from. Like, I don't care what country you're from. If you're a great fighter, you're a great fighter. I'm there to watch because that's the sport I like watching. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be a global thing. So enjoy greatness. Like I said, you knock somebody out, I'm gonna talk mad shit. I don't care. He's American, I don't care. But I'm expecting you guys to get a lot of hate, a lot of boos. If one Canadian gets love, that's gonna be super wild because I think this is gonna be one of the hottest things because I know people who don't even like hockey. They're like, bro, you heard about this Canadian versus USA? And I was like, well, what are you
Yeah,
talking about? They're like the ice wars. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. And they're like, bro, it's gonna be crazy. I'm like, I don't think you people understand how crazy it's gonna be.
it's gonna be like really nuts. Like I'm super stoked. I got asked to be on either card, and Yeah, no, I chose this card for the exact reason I think it's going to be a nuts card to be at. I would rather be on the actual card itself than be in attendance to watch it all go crazy. Um, Honestly, I'd be cool with making the crowd go crazy myself. So it's yeah.
I mean, it's like I say, I'm gung ho for it. I can't wait to see it. The partnership with BKFC, like you touched on earlier, you said you think that it'll definitely put more eyes, and I think it will because BKFC, and I know that's what their quote is: fastest rising combat sport, and it is. It's not me being biased; like they're really putting numbers. Now, when this happened, was this like something where the president kind of send everybody something like, "Hey, look, we're partnering up with BKFC," and
Yeah, so basically what happened was I got a text saying, "Hey, like, about BKFC," and I was like, "Yeah, it's like the second hottest combat sport there is right now. It's probably going to take like I personally think BKFC is going to take over UFC in the next 5 to 10 years. I truly believe
oh
that
yeah,
BKFC
oh
is
yeah.
going to go way up. So when I first heard about it, I was like, "Holy shit! Like, are you guys serious?" And they were like, "Yeah." So like, whatever. It was kind of just talks at first, and then it became official. And once it became official, I was stoked. Like to me, like I've been watching BKFC pretty much since it started, and I've been I was supposed to go to a couple tryouts out in Canada, but both times I was in New York or Vegas or wherever,
Oh
so
wow.
I couldn't get rid of my trip for that. So ended up watching it this whole time, and yeah, like it's climbing faster than I thought it was gonna climb, and like to me, BKFC is gonna be probably like well, it will be the top probably combat sport and soon, strictly on the basis that it's like fast, like it's you're not there to watch guys sub each other and like dance around like octagon smaller, it's like straight at each other and it just you go. Most of those fights start off with the bell rings and the guy's already throwing a hand. um
Yeah.
yeah, so like, and then to me, when I like, and because of that, like, I think Ice Wars is the exact same thing, just on ice. And I think the biggest
Yep.
difference is pretty much you're able to grab each other and you're able to like clinch or whatever, and like actually throw like while I'm holding his jersey, whatever. Um, so I personally think it's a huge, like a really good match for BKFC and Ice Wars. And then I just think that I think when BKFC shoots up, Ice Wars will be right behind it. And I think people are gonna be like, holy shit, this is like, the coolest like thing that's out there. Like and I think we do it properly where we actually like grab jerseys, we jersey jab and like
Yep.
we like do whatever we got to do basically. Where I've seen other ice promotions where they don't grab and they wear headgear, which to me is just kind of pointless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's wild because like when I was young, I'm older. Um, I got put onto hockey by this old lady in my neighborhood, right? Like she was like, "You watch hockey?" And I'm like, "Nah, I play basketball." You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh my god, these guys beat the shit out of each other." I'm a little kid. I'm like, "Get out of here!" So I'm chilling in her house with her grandson, and she puts on the Rangers versus Pittsburgh, and these guys just start thugging it out. She's going crazy, this old lady, and I'm like, "Yo, this is your grandmother." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Do you know any of the players?" And she's like, "No, I watch for the fights." So I'm like, "Oh, this is wow." And I don't think people understand. In other sports, like if I punch a guy in the face, I get suspended. If you guys punch a guy in the face, you go into a box for 5 minutes and you can do it right back, right? Like
Yeah.
this is why hockey to me is the only tough sport still left. And I'm a football guy, but it's still built the same high impact. You got guys that are throwing their weight around, stick checking and everything, and you still got the hands. Like guys are not afraid to bang out, and you're even seeing wingers and centers where they're like Obi's not afraid to thug it out neither. So I'm like, Ice Wars, give it to me. I need it. Like,
100%.
but so I think it's a crown, right? I think it's called King of the Ring.
Yeah.
I'm a belt guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know about the crown thing, and I'm like, I would love to see multiple things, belts and all that, because I know they'll say, "Oh, well, belts don't exist in hockey." Well, neither does crowns, right?
Right.
Like, so
Yeah.
I want to see weight divisions, and I know they have, but like, I'm like, I want more, because I get the king of the rink, but if you give me different weight classes with different belts, you can invest more in specific fighters. I think. So I'm
100%.
like, oh man, like this is. I gotta get some more of this. Is there something that? How do you think I'm right? I'm wrong? Like I'm good with being wrong.
No, I'm a big belt guy myself. I think belts are the way to go. From what I've heard and like I've heard on podcasts from some of the guys that are running Ice Wars, that there are no more tournaments. I believe from the sounds of it, I believe it's going to be an actual ranking system now, which I personally think is better. I think tournaments they were nuts, man. Like when I fought in my tournament, it was
They're
I fought
brutal.
once. I luckily knocked him out in 9 seconds, but I was still gassed for my second fight. Like I was still like the adrenaline dump of leaving that arena after I knocked him out, and then on the way out, everybody was like basically jumping on me from the crowd type thing, and to go in the back room and then my adrenaline just go away and like I have to get undressed for a couple hours and then I have to go back out again and the guy that I was fighting was pretty much like was ready to go and I'm sitting there like holy shit I'm so like just chilled right now and I just like could just not fight again. um yeah, like it definitely plays a huge part in the tournament where like you even get in the first fight and it's a war, you're gonna be so scared for your second fight because like how many wars can you really go through in a night? And like you only get an hour in between your fights, really, maybe even shorter. And like it's not like I said, it's not even just a fight to me. It's like 10 fights in one. So it's like you're fighting like almost 20 times
Yeah.
a night if that's like really what you look at. Um,
See,
Go
and I
ahead.
think people think that like when you fight, like I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm not nervous, nothing bothers me." To me, that's unrealistic. Like I've been in a lot of fights, and even when you fight somebody, you go give it to them. There's still that nervousness of it's a fight, right? Like so,
Yeah.
anything can happen, and it's like that whole "oh, nothing bothers me, nothing phases me," whatever. I can't stand that. Like I'm like, yo, if that's not in you, then I don't think you're prepared for the war you're gonna get into, neither.
100%. Before I started doing this, like even as like a hockey enforcer, like I grew up playing senior hockey for my reserve, and like I was the enforcer since I was 15 years old, type shit. And you know, especially being 15, I was fighting full grown men. So like I was like, holy shit, this guy's way older than me and like is gonna kick the shit out of me. Like it's the same thing as fighting my dad.
Got that
Like
man strength.
yeah, so like I grew up with that my whole life and I hate like I as much as I loved it, I hated dropping the gloves. But to me, if I dropped them early and I was like, okay, they're dropped, I have to fight now. That was like where I was like, okay, let's fucking do it and like I'm ready to go. But until I dropped them, I was always like, oh my god, I'm so scared. And like especially if I knew a guy was coming for me to fight, I was like, fuck, like the whole game he's like
Yeah,
trying to get me to go and I'm like piss me off first so I can at least fight mad so I at least have a reason to drop him. Like I can't just casually fight. Um
yeah.
where yeah, like pretty much my whole life I did that. And then going into Ice Wars, like before that I heard like and everybody like that I grew up with was oh I'm not scared to fight. Like I'm not scared if they're enforcers and shit. So I was like always like, oh like
Yeah.
maybe I'm just a bitch, like maybe I'm not actually an enforcer. Like maybe I'm not that guy. And when I got into Ice Wars, talking with all the guys there, and like Amesbury is one of the guys I talked to like a lot about it at Ice Wars 1, and then Ice Wars 2, I talked to like Schmitty about it quite a bit, and like those guys you can fight like 3 times a night in like the professional leagues, they're still like they're still like oh man I got scared every single time like I gotta drop them and like same thing I've heard Marassi say on a podcast, same thing like you get the nerves until you drop them and like I was like okay so it's not just me like and like to me, my biggest thing is like I've seen like what I can do to people, and I've seen what happens to people. So I'm like, shit. Like if that happens to me, like that fucking sucks. Like I don't want it. I don't want that to happen. And like I've never been hurt or rocked that bad in a fight ever. So like I'm always like, oh shit. Like what's it gonna feel like when I like get knocked out and I'm laying there and like yeah, it's like I've seen some pretty crazy stuff happen. So it's like I'm always pretty like scared to fight, but like if I'm training for a fight, like especially if I'm training for a specific guy, I'm like pretty dialed in by the time I get there. Like as soon as I get to the venue, I pretty much become the Haymaker, and I'm like, all right, like let's walk around, knock this guy out, let's
It's
get out of here. Like, and then like for me, like I've after Ice Wars 2 especially, it's like my knockout was huge, but my celly was almost like just as huge. And like Ice Wars 1, same thing. Like my fight was good, but like my celly was the one that people were like, holy shit, like this guy's like shotgun to beer after you like beat this guy up. Um, that's where I kind of just like realized like I don't want to be just a guy who's like out there to dominate fights. Like I do, but I'm not there to like win off points or anything. Like I'm there to be the most
Yeah,
entertaining
yeah.
fighter there is on the card every single time. I want people to
And
see my name and
that's
say,
the sell too.
right. And like to me, I'm like when I see like a Dustin Poirier fight, I'm like, holy shit, he's on the card. Like we're for sure watching this no matter what. Like I don't care who else is on this
Yep.
card. I want that same effect on people where they're like, holy shit, this is gonna be a banger fight. Like we'll watch the whole card just for this one fight if we have to.
See, and it's true. Like when people talk about like some of the greatest fighters, Ali, he danced around. He stung people. Tyson was knocking people out like in less than a minute. And then when you talk Floyd, and I'm not a Floyd guy because to me, yeah, he might be the greatest defensive fighter, but he wasn't fun to watch. Like
Yeah.
it was a good fight, but you don't go, oh wow, like this guy's really putting into work. And arguably he is the best. But to me, I want to see somebody, and I don't want to try to make it like a wrestling thing, but I want it to feel like a show. I wanted to feel like, everything is involved, like you said, with the sellies and chugging a beer or you're talking shit. And it's like, yeah, these are the kind of guys that you sit back and you go, oh man, this is why I'm a fan of this guy. Not only is he going to knock you out, he's going to put on a show. He's not afraid. He's this. You fall into it. Now, the one thing I had to ask, it's probably my last question because I'm chewing your ear off. So I don't know. You obviously played hockey, so you had to have had a concussion at some point.
Say that again. Sorry, you cut out there.
Have you ever had a concussion before?
Nothing too crazy. In minor hockey, I made a hit against somebody and we both basically just like stood each other off and we just like stood there. But as we hit each other, like the lights went super like bright and like I had a headache like instantaneously, like I was kind of lightheaded, like whatever. And like they said it was a minor concussion, but I played hockey, like I was in a tournament that weekend, so I ended up playing like through the whole tournament anyway with a concussion.
Dang.
And then as of like fighting, like in my junior seasons, like I've never really got tagged up too much, so like never really got hurt. And then like playing senior with my res, like same thing. Like I've never been like hit too bad. It's always kind of just like off my helmet or off my visor or body shots or whatever. And then like ice wars, like I probably have probably had a couple concussions in ice wars already. I wouldn't necessarily say they were bad. But after the tournament at Ice Wars 2, I fought Justin Schmidt, who plays in the FPHL there, or yeah, Federal League, and then he plays in the LNAH. But he was like that was his hot season where he I think had the most amount of fights in pro hockey, like and that includes like all of it. Yeah, like, it was crazy. So like I studied him probably the most for that tournament, and when it came to like actually like fighting him, he tagged me up like I can't remember what we counted. It was like 80 something times. Like it was like 60 a round or 50 a round or something. Like it was our hands were ridiculous. It was like just back and forth hitting each other the whole fight. He ended up breaking my orbital bone or whatever it's called here, my cheekbone. I had a black eye for like 10 months. And then yeah, like my concussion definitely wasn't bad. Like I've never been too fucked up where I can't, party and celebrate after or whatever. So I definitely wouldn't say I've gotten a bad concussion yet, but I mean, with the way I fight, it's probably going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, because I had one concussion in all football. Like I've only got one, and I don't even remember it. I had cheated, and one of my guys was like, you got to ask about concussion and tell him about yours. I was like, all right, cool. So I had left my guy, and when I dove to try to make the breakup, I guess the guy seen me try to dive, and we went helmet to helmet, like on dives. And that, I think our game was 12. So say like 12:30 that happens. I only remember sitting on a curb while my sister and my homeboy went into a store at like 8 o'clock at night. So I was just walking around with no idea what's going on. And the lights kind of just, I'm here. And I was like, yo, what are we doing out here? And they're like, bro, you've been hanging out the whole day. I was like, I got to ask him because he's getting into these fights. Like, I mean, that's crazy, though, getting your shit broken and lasting like 10 months.
Yeah, and it's funny because like my whole team is like a bunch, like we're all close friends growing up type shit or like family or whatever. So like it was funny if like we didn't see each other for a couple of weeks, they'd come back and I'd still have my busted cheek and my black eye. And you're like, man, like what the hell? And
When's it going away?
yeah, so like my one friend who lives up north in Nunavut, he's like one of my cornermen. He's like my personal manager when he's down and books all my shit for me for Ice Wars and whatever. Um, he came back after like 8 months or 6 months or whatever, and he saw my eye and he's like, "Man," he's like, "Are you getting in fights still?" And I was like, "No, bro, that's the same like black guy that I've had this whole time." And he's like, "Bro, what the hell?"
That's
And I was like, "Yeah,
great.
dude, there's like literally nothing we can do about it. It's an eye." So
Jeez.
yeah, I've definitely paid my price already. So.
That's crazy. So listen, I chewed your ear off. I know you're a busy guy. If what could you plug? Obviously, I'm gonna stick it in links underneath, but plug away so I can get you out of here, bro.
My Instagram's Justyce Smoke, just my name. My Facebook is Justyce Haymaker Smoke. My athletic company where I release all my merchandise. I also make athletic merch on top of that is Haymaker Athletic Co. on Facebook. Just DM them for whatever you want. My YouTube is Justyce Smoke 81. I post there every 2 weeks. I have a video out this past week, basically my announcement of who I'm fighting, when I'm fighting, where I'm fighting. That's pretty much it for me. That's all I really use. You can follow my TikTok, which is Justyce Smoke, I believe, too, or Justyce Haymaker Smoke. But I don't post on there too often. Just random edits and clips that I get sent or whatever. Yeah, that's really it, man.
Nah, bro. Listen, I appreciate your time. I can't wait to see you knock somebody out. Unfortunately, it's going to be one of my country guys. So listen, it sucks for them, right? So tough shit for that guy, whoever he is.
Yeah.
But man, y'all know what it is, man. Fuck with the Haymaker because when you got a name like the Haymaker, that means he's drugging people. So for myself, this man, we out of here. Deuces.
See you later.